You ever notice how your brain seems to have a perfect excuse every time you need to do something important? It's like suddenly cleaning your desk feels urgent, your phone becomes magnetic, and your goals can wait. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just running an ancient software program designed to keep you comfortable. And in the modern world, that comfort is killing your potential. Here's the truth no one wants to hear: motivation isn't coming. It never was. The people you admire, the ones who seem endlessly productive, disciplined, focused, they're not waiting to feel ready. They've learned how to move without motivation. They've hacked the brain's resistance and turned discomfort into drive. That's the secret most never discover, not because it's hidden, but because it feels unnatural. So the real question isn't, how do I get motivated? The question is, how do I make my brain want to do the hard things? Because once you understand that, motivation becomes irrelevant. What if the problem was never your willpower, but the way your mind was wired? Stay until the end, because today you'll learn how to reprogram it. The human brain is brilliant and sneaky. It wasn't built for productivity, it was built for survival. Every time you sit down to study, work out, or start a project, your brain doesn't see growth, it sees danger. Discomfort triggers the same primitive alarm system that once warned us about predators. Today, that alarm goes off when you face a blank page or a tough conversation. Your brain whispers, not now, later. And that's how most dreams quietly die, not from failure, but from hesitation. What we call procrastination isn't laziness, it's a survival instinct gone rogue. In the modern world, this instinct keeps us trapped in mediocrity, addicted to comfort. Every swipe, every scroll, every distraction gives a quick dopamine hit that feels safe. The brain craves it because it demands no effort. But here's the catch: the same circuits that protect you from discomfort also block your personal growth and destroy your mental focus. Each time you choose comfort over challenge, you strengthen a powerful mental loop, the habit of avoidance. The more you avoid, the more your brain learns that avoidance equals safety. It's like feeding a wild animal that keeps coming back, hungrier each time. That's why even smart, disciplined people get stuck. They think they have a discipline problem, but what they really have is a neural habit built on fear and instant gratification. But here's the truth: very few people understand. You can rewire this system. You can train your mind to crave challenge the same way it craves comfort. That's what the Lotus Method is all about: a way to make your brain bloom through discomfort instead of hiding from it. Because comfort isn't the reward, it's the trap. And once you see that clearly, the whole game of self-development changes forever. The first step to mastering your mind isn't about taking action, it's about seeing. Most people go through life completely unaware that their mindset is being hijacked by invisible patterns. Every time you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, or I just need to check my messages first, that's not you. That's your brain's comfort algorithm running on autopilot. Awareness means catching that moment in real time, naming it for what it is. This is avoidance. And the second you name it, something magical happens. The logical part of your brain wakes up, and the emotional fog begins to lift. Think of it like turning on a light in a dark room. The monsters you feared lose their shape when you actually look at them. Neuroscience backs this up. Labeling emotions or impulses literally reduces their power over you. So the next time you feel that pull to escape a hard task, pause for 3 seconds and call it out. Avoidance, not truth. That tiny act shifts control from the limbic system to the prefrontal cortex, from instinct to intention. That's where discipline begins. This kind of awareness transforms productivity from a struggle into a skill. You start to recognize your mind's tricks: the fake urgency, the quick breaks that last an hour, the rationalizations that feel logical but are really self-sabotage. Awareness doesn't make you perfect, but it gives you choice. And choice is everything. The Lotus Method starts here, not by forcing action, but by observing thought. Because once you can see the trap, you're no longer in it. And soon you'll realize that fighting resistance head-on isn't the way. There's a smarter path, one that flows instead of forces. Most people think discipline means pushing harder. But forcing your way through mental resistance is like trying to sprint through mud, exhausting and unsustainable. The truth is, your brain doesn't respond well to pressure. It responds to momentum. It's what separates those who drift from those who design their days. It's how you begin to manage your time instead of being managed by it. That's why the second step of the Lotus Method is all about flow, not force. You don't need to conquer your mind, you need to guide it. Instead of obsessing over finishing a huge task, start with something so small your brain can't reject it. 5 minutes, one paragraph, a single action. See, the mind loves progress, not perfection. Starting small tricks your brain into releasing dopamine, the same neurotransmitter responsible for motivation. Once you begin, you often realize it's not that hard to continue. Think about it. The hardest part of going to the gym isn't the workout, it's putting on your shoes. The hardest part of writing isn't finishing the page, it's opening the document. The moment you start, you shift from hesitation to movement, from procrastination to productivity. This isn't about lowering your standards, it's about lowering resistance. Big goals are built from micro moments of courage repeated daily. And those micro moments, once they compound, create identity. The mindset of someone who does hard things without waiting to feel ready. Flow means embracing effort as natural, not painful. It means using friction as fuel instead of fear. That's how personal growth becomes automatic. Not a fight, but a rhythm. So, the next time your brain screams, "Not now," don't argue. Outsmart it. Take one small, intentional step. Because once motion begins, resistance fades. And when you learn to flow instead of force, you stop fighting your brain and start partnering with it. But to make that partnership powerful, you'll need one more tool, a sharper mind. And that starts with quiet. Silence isn't the absence of action, it's the sharpening of it. Most people treat stillness like wasted time, but in reality, it's one of the most powerful tools for mental focus and self-development. Your brain is constantly bombarded by noise, notifications, conversations, decisions, and every bit of that noise dulls your attention. Quietude is how you restore clarity. Just 5 to 10 minutes of intentional stillness can lower cortisol, recharge your creative energy, and help you see what truly matters. It's not meditation for the sake of calm. It's strategy for the sake of strength. Picture a warrior sharpening their blade before battle. They're not being passive, they're preparing. That's what quiet time does for your productivity and discipline. It clears the fog, so when you move with purpose. Try this. Before starting a demanding task, sit still for a few minutes. Breathe. Observe the chaos in your thoughts without judgment. You'll notice something strange. The resistance starts to dissolve. What felt impossible a moment ago suddenly feels manageable. Quietude trains your mind to be steady when everything around you is loud. It's how you develop mental precision, the kind of focus that turns hours of distraction into minutes of progress. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. In a world obsessed with noise, the ability to sit in silence is a superpower. It's where great decisions, great ideas, and great clarity are born. And here's the twist. Quietude isn't just about stopping the noise outside. It's about learning to listen to the noise within. Because once you can hear the stories your mind keeps repeating, you can rewrite them. And when you do, you're ready for the next phase, turning intention into precise, deliberate action. Once your mind is calm, it's time to move, but with precision, not panic. The secret of productivity isn't doing more, it's doing what matters with discipline. When you focus on one meaningful task at a time, your brain enters a state of deep work, a flow where distractions fade and results multiply. The biggest lie of modern self-development is that multitasking equals efficiency. In truth, it's cognitive self-sabotage. Every time you switch tasks, you leak energy and lose focus, like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. That's why the Lotus Method insists on slicing your work into clear, intentional blocks. One high-impact task, one defined window of time. No tabs open, no mental clutter. It's what time management really means, designing your day instead of reacting to it. Try the 50-10 rule, 50 minutes of undivided attention, 10 minutes to reset. It sounds simple, but when done daily, it compounds into massive personal growth. Your mind learns that focus brings reward, not exhaustion. Intentional action isn't about speed, it's about alignment. Every decision, every movement is a vote for the person you want to become. When you choose one thing and give it your full attention, you stop living on autopilot. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start, not because of motivation, but because of momentum. That's what builds real discipline, not brute force, but clarity. And here's the paradox. Once you master this, progress starts to feel effortless. You'll look back and realize that what once felt overwhelming now feels natural. But that's when another test begins. Patience, because growth doesn't happen overnight. It blooms slowly, like a lotus rising through the mud. In a world obsessed with speed, patience feels outdated, almost weak. But the truth is, patience is discipline in disguise. Every time you choose to wait with intention, you're strengthening the mental muscle that separates amateurs from masters. Personal growth doesn't happen in a straight line. It compounds slowly, beneath the surface, like roots expanding before a tree breaks the ground. When you stop demanding instant results, you allow real transformation to unfold. The Lotus Method teaches that growth works the same way a lotus blooms, through resistance, darkness, and time. Each habit, each small action, each quiet victory adds up, even when it doesn't feel like it. That's how self-development really works. Invisible progress, visible results. You don't see the muscle growing while you train or the brain rewiring while you focus, but it's happening. That's why impatience is so dangerous. It convinces you nothing's changing, when in fact, everything is. Patience isn't passive, it's active trust. It's the mindset that says, I'm playing the long game. It means staying committed even when progress is slow, because consistency always beats intensity. If you can wait, you can win. Not because time rewards everyone, but because time rewards those who keep showing up. The universe has a strange way of testing those who are almost ready, and most people quit right before the breakthrough. So here's the paradox. Doing hard things becomes easier only when you stop chasing ease. Once you trust the process, the pressure fades and discipline feels natural. You stop asking, when will it happen? And start thinking, who am I becoming while I wait? And when your brain finally learns to enjoy the climb as much as the view, that's when you stop resisting and start evolving. But there's one last piece to complete the circle. When you start applying the Lotus Method, something subtle yet powerful begins to shift. The things that once drained you, the tasks you avoided, the fears you justified, start to lose their grip. You realize that procrastination was never the enemy. Misunderstanding was. You weren't lazy, you were untrained. And now that your mind has learned to move through discomfort instead of running from it, you've unlocked the true foundation of self-development, growth through friction. At first, the brain resists. It clings to old habits, whispering, it's too much. But over time, it learns a new language, the language of progress. Every moment of awareness, every small step, every act of intentional stillness rewires your mindset. You begin to crave what challenges you. You seek discipline not as punishment, but as freedom. And that's the quiet miracle of personal growth. It transforms your identity long before it transforms your circumstances. Soon, the hard things become your proof. Every task completed, every urge resisted, every quiet morning spent in focus becomes a reminder. You're evolving. Your mental focus sharpens, your productivity rises. You start making better decisions, managing your time with purpose, living with clarity. You stop chasing motivation and start building momentum. You no longer wait for life to feel easy. You train your mind to be strong. That's the real upgrade, the one no shortcut can buy. Because in the end, the Lotus Method isn't about changing what you do, it's about changing who you are while you do it. Resistance was the test, discipline was the teacher, and awareness was the awakening. The mind you once fought against is now your greatest ally. And from this point on, every difficult thing becomes a message. You're not stuck, you're just beginning to bloom. Now you know, doing hard things isn't about waiting for motivation. It's about training your brain to move even when it resists. Your brain isn't your enemy. It's your greatest ally once you learn how it truly works. Every time you do something hard when you don't feel like it, choose focus over distraction, discipline over comfort, you're proving to yourself that growth is possible. You're not just being productive, you're becoming someone new. So what's one difficult thing you've been avoiding? Start it today, even for 5 minutes. Because change doesn't happen when you feel ready, it happens when you begin. That's real self-development, not theory, but transformation. And if this hit you hard, don't just watch, apply it. Train your brain, build the habit, upgrade your mind, one idea at a time. And if you truly want to take this further, there's one more thing you need to understand: the truth about what people regret most at the end of their lives. It's not failure, it's hesitation. Watch The Biggest Regret People Have at 80 and How to Avoid It Next. It's the perfect continuation of what you started here.